Noah Carter, the brilliant, dashing CEO of a billion-dollar corporation, appeared to have it all. However, hidden beneath his perfect exterior lay a dark secret. Noah suffered from severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, which ruled his life with ironclad rules and constant anxiety. His world was a fortress of order until Lily Parsons appeared. Lily, his new assistant, was a simple yet unpretentious girl with extraordinary organizational skills and an incredible calmness. She seemed to be the perfect match for the perfectionist CEO. Ironically, though, her presence, her unique neatness, even the gentle scent she carried, became the strongest trigger for Noah's OCD. The story does not stop at awkward office situations. It unfolds into a breathtaking psychological struggle. Noah increasingly lost control whenever Lily was around. His concern for her began to cross the normal line, transforming into a fierce obsession. Was it love that was blossoming, or was it just a dangerous symptom of a disease overtaking his mind? The controversial questions about love, illness, and the fragile boundary between caring and toxic control were raised by his fixation on her. Noah Carter lived in a world meticulously controlled down to the millimeter. His penthouse office at Synergy Tech's headquarters in San Francisco was not only the workplace of a genius tech CEO, but also a fortress against the chaos he perceived lurking just outside the tempered glass. Everything was in its place. Pens were lined up perfectly parallel in the metal pen holder. The computer screen was clean and free of fingerprints, and stacks of papers were aligned neatly along the edge of the desk. Even the air seemed more thoroughly filtered, carrying a neutral, sterile scent. Before an upcoming board meeting, Noah stood at his desk, performing a series of discreet but indispensable rituals. He tapped the left corner of the desk 3 times, then the right corner 3 times. He adjusted his silver-gray silk tie a 5th time, making sure the knot was perfectly centered. Finally, he went to his personal sink, washed his hands in a meticulous 2-minute routine, used a paper towel to turn the faucet on and off, and then used another paper towel to open the door. Only then did the anxiety, which had been squeezing his chest, temporarily ease enough for him to put on the cool, confident facade of a Silicon Valley executive. At 36, Noah Carter was a legend. He had built Synergy Tech from scratch into a tech giant, a feat attributed to his brilliant mind, charismatic good looks, and a fortune to match. Yet behind his meteoric success was a relentless internal battle with obsessive-compulsive disorder, a secret he carefully kept hidden behind his aloofness and demanding work style. His longtime executive assistant, a patient woman accustomed to his sometimes bizarre demands, was retiring, paving the way for a new, uncontrollable variable in Noah's meticulously orchestrated world. Lily Parsons walked into Synergy Tech on a sunny Monday morning. With her brown hair tied back in a neat ponytail and dressed in a simple, crisp white shirt and black slacks, she exuded a calm and confident air. During Noah's final interview, he was impressed, although he did not show it, by the incredibly logical way she presented her resume, the clear and coherent manner in which she answered situational questions, and the intelligent gaze of her eyes that did not flinch under his scrutiny. On her first day at work, Lily quickly demonstrated her extraordinary organizational skills. She rearranged the common work area outside Noah's office in a scientific manner, created a more efficient electronic document storage system, and handled Noah's busy schedule smoothly. As she smiled with satisfaction while looking at bookshelves rearranged by subject in alphabetical order, a flashback of her time caring for her seriously ill grandmother, where neatness and order were paramount, flashed by. Noah watched her through the glass of his office, a quiet habit of control. He acknowledged her abilities, but her presence and the slightest changes she introduced began to stir his latent anxiety. The first collision occurred at the end of Lily's 3rd day. As she entered the office to present her final report, she accidentally shifted Noah's crystal paperweight about an inch to the left. To anyone else, it would have been insignificant, but to Noah, the small asymmetry was a shrill alarm. His heartbeat quickened, his jaw clenched, and it took all his strength not to reach out and fix it right in front of her. He nodded at her to leave. His voice was a little drier than usual. As soon as the door closed, he rushed to the desk, carefully picked up the paperweight, wiped off the faint fingerprints, probably not even there, and placed it back exactly as it had been to the millimeter. He took a deep breath to try to suppress the rising anxiety. Lily's presence was clearly a dangerous variable. Over time, she began to notice something different about the new CEO. He kept a certain distance, avoiding unnecessary physical contact. He used hand sanitizer almost constantly, and he appeared extremely annoyed when she brought coffee into the office without prior notice over the intercom. Frequently, he checked his sent emails or reconfirmed appointments multiple times. At first, Lily thought it was just the meticulous work style of a tech genius, or that he simply did not like her. She resolved to try harder to respect his privacy and unspoken rules, unaware that she had just entered the orbit of a man struggling with his own mind. A struggle that her very presence was about to exacerbate. Lily's special abilities extended beyond paperwork. A few weeks after she started working, Synergy Tech faced a small yet sophisticated cyber attack on its customer database. The company atmosphere became tense. Top engineers worked overtime while Noah paced the office, his anxiety escalating and his OCD symptoms worsening. He checked the security system, rearranged the objects on his desk, and the chaos outside seemed to invade his inner fortress. Mid this turmoil, Lily became an oasis of calm. Not only did she ensure that communications between departments flowed smoothly, but she also proactively synthesized scattered reports from the engineering team into a clear, logical hourly situational summary. By filtering out essential information and arranging tasks by priority, she helped Noah grasp the overall situation quickly without feeling overwhelmed by details. During an urgent meeting when a major partner called for an update, Lily handled the call professionally, providing just enough information to reassure them while protecting sensitive details. Even though Noah's mind was still reeling from his fears of data breaches and loss of control, he could not help but notice Lily's remarkable efficiency and calmness amid chaos. The way she brought order to a stream of information, anticipated needs, and handled problems discreetly gave him a strange sense of security. It was not the obsessive control he had always sought, but rather a different kind of order, a stability stemming from her competence and composure. For the first time, he saw her not merely as an assistant, but with genuine admiration. When a new product launch required them to work together more often and stay late in the office, their physical and temporal proximity amplified Noah's OCD triggers. He began noticing every little detail about her, the faint scent of lavender emanating from her hair, the way she tapped her temples thoughtfully, and the manner in which she arranged her desk, not according to his obsessive system of symmetry and classification. This closeness made his symptoms increasingly difficult to control. He found himself checking her emails more often than necessary, even though he knew she was thorough. He became unusually anxious if she changed an appointment without explanation. He fought the urge to request that she rearrange the stack of papers on his desk into the color-coded order he had mentally assigned. Even more alarmingly, intrusive thoughts about Lily began to appear with increasing frequency. It wasn't solely the worry about her job performance. His mind started conjuring images of her outside of work, worrying about her safety when she walked home alone, and even fleeting romantic thoughts that paradoxically triggered panic over the loss of control. Despite his inner turmoil, or perhaps because of it, an inexplicable attraction began to blossom. Noah was drawn to Lily's calm, down-to-earth intelligence and her simple, unadorned beauty. To him, she was like a solid anchor amidst a turbulent sea, a steadying force for his restless mind. He found himself wanting to know more about her, to understand the life behind her professional facade. Lily, for her part, became increasingly aware of Noah's strange behavior. She noticed the constant tension hidden behind his cool exterior, as well as moments of brilliance when he passionately discussed technology, made decisive decisions, and on rare occasions, revealed a glimmer of deep loneliness. She was touched by the times he unexpectedly offered her his umbrella when it started raining, even though he clearly did not like sharing, or the incident when he coldly defended her from a snide remark by an investor. One evening, as they reviewed a new product demo in the quiet R&D lab, a monitor malfunctioned. As they both bent down to check the cables behind the computer, their hands accidentally touched. A slight but distinct electric current seemed to run down both of their spines. They quickly pulled their hands away, their faces flushing red, and for a brief moment, an awkward awareness of their mutual attraction filled the air. For Noah, that accidental touch was both sweet and terrifying. It stirred emotions he had long tried to suppress while igniting his familiar fear of losing control. He knew he was being drawn into something dangerous, an obsession with Lily that he wasn't sure he could manage. As his attraction to Lily grew, Noah's internal struggle intensified, and his OCD-fueled obsession began to distort his behavior. His initial concern gradually shifted into a need for control. He demanded that Lily report her personal schedule outside working hours, insisting it was for her safety and to ensure he could contact her in case of an emergency. He became irritable and visibly annoyed when he saw her chatting happily with her male colleagues, particularly with a young engineer from R&D who occasionally brought her coffee. Noah's behavior grew more intrusive. He would enter her work area, not to check her work performance, but to rearrange everything in his order. A pen had to be placed exactly parallel to the edge of the desk. A stack of notebooks had to be organized in descending order of size, and even a small potted plant needed to face the correct direction. He justified it to himself by claiming that it lessened his anxiety and helped keep things tidy. Deep down, however, he knew it was a manifestation of his growing obsession, a desperate need to control his surroundings and, in his warped mind, protect Lily from chaos, including her normal social interactions. For Lily, the situation became increasingly suffocating. What initially had been admiration for Noah's intellect gradually turned into a vague sense of fear. She felt as if she were being watched and controlled at every step, through incessant demands on her schedule, probing questions about her social life, and unreasonable anger when even the slightest change in her plans occurred. Finally, she gathered the courage to ask, "Mr. Carter, may I ask why you need to know the details of my weekend schedule? If it's urgent, you can always call." Noah, surprised and embarrassed that his behavior was being questioned, responded defensively, "Just making sure everything is under control, Miss Parsons. Synergy Tech requires absolute dedication." He avoided her gaze, his voice colder than usual, and the conversation ended in tension. The climax came on the day of the launch of Synergy Tech's new flagship product, an event highly anticipated throughout the tech industry. The pressure on Noah was immense. Everything had to be perfect, and not a single mistake was allowed. He checked and rechecked every detail, from the presentation to the sound and lighting systems, and even the guest list. His anxiety reached its peak. Lily, responsible for coordinating the logistics and ensuring all important documents were ready, had worked tirelessly for weeks. However, on the morning of the launch, Lily's car became stuck in an enormous traffic jam due to an unexpected accident. She tried calling Noah, but the signal was intermittent. By the time she arrived, 15 minutes later than planned, the presentation was about to start, and more critically, the USB containing the final update for the product introduction video was in her bag. Noah, who had been waiting in the wings with pale, shaking hands as he repeatedly adjusted his tie, initially felt relief upon seeing Lily rush in, panting. That relief was quickly replaced by anger and panic. In Noah's mind, her small, justified delay shattered the perfect scenario he had built, becoming the final straw that broke the camel's back. "Where have you been?" he hissed, his voice cracking with tension. No longer able to maintain his cool facade, he began packing, running his hands through his hair and muttering incoherently. "Everything. Everything is wrong because of you. The video is wrong. Why are you late?" He snatched a tablet from one of the staff members and, obsessively checking the presentation file even though he knew it hadn't changed, bellowed, "Wrong location, wrong timing." Stunned by his outburst, Lily held out the USB. Her voice trembled as she pleaded, "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter, I'm stuck in traffic. Here's a video update." But Noah, lost in his own panic, barely heard her. Instead, he began to arrange the water bottles on a nearby table in a neat row, repeating the action over and over without thinking. "It has to be in order. Everything has to be in order," he gasped, his eyes wild and completely out of control in front of many employees and partners. That public breakdown exposed the severity of Noah's OCD and the terrifying nature of his obsession, a pathological dependence that had spiraled far beyond rational control. Lily stood there, the USB growing heavier in her hand, as she realized that Noah's problem was far more complicated and terrifying than she had ever imagined. Noah's panic only subsided when his personal physician was called in for an emergency and administered a mild sedative. The product launch went on under the supervision of the vice president, and Noah was sent home to rest, utterly devastated. Although the incident was kept quiet, it soon became the unspoken talk of Synergy Tech. The next day, Noah asked to see Lily at his home, a minimalist yet hauntingly tidy penthouse. Sitting on the sofa and looking more tired and frail than ever, his usual authoritative presence replaced by vulnerability, he looked directly into Lily's eyes, not with scrutiny or control, but with shame and despair. Lily, he began slowly, I owe you an explanation and a profound apology. Taking a deep breath, he continued, I have suffered from obsessive-compulsive disorder for years. The strange behavior, the unreasonable demands, the need for control. It's not because I hate you or distrust you, but because my illness makes me afraid of chaos and uncertainty. I try to control everything around me to feel safer. And then you came along. You were smart, calm, and brought a different kind of order into my life. I became obsessed. My fear of losing control mixed with admiration and other emotions I couldn't name. I turned you into part of my obsessive ritual, a tool to manage my anxiety. What I did yesterday was unacceptable. I scared you. I suffocated you. And I am so sorry. Lily listened in silence. Noah's confession provided clarity to all the confusion that had plagued her. Although her initial fear was gradually replaced by deep sympathy as she imagined his daily internal battle, she remained uncertain about the future. Thank you for telling me the truth, Noah, Lily said softly. I understand how difficult it is for you, but I cannot be your coping mechanism. It's not healthy for either of us. Noah nodded, his eyes filled with painful understanding. That's why I've been in touch with my therapist. I need to learn how to manage my OCD in a healthier way, to face my fears without relying on or controlling others, especially you. His tone shifted to reveal a touch of hope. I do have feelings for you, Lily, real feelings that go beyond a pathological obsession, but I understand if you cannot accept them right away. You need time. Lily interrupted. I have feelings for you too, but we need clear boundaries. I can be your friend, your coworker, even your lover, but I'm not your therapist or an object of control. You must fight this disease yourself, and I will support you if you are truly willing to try. Thus began a new, difficult but hopeful journey. Noah embarked on intensive therapy, learning techniques to combat anxiety and intrusive thoughts, while Lily helped him by reorganizing his work and living environment in a more logical, scientific way. Gradually, his OCD triggers diminished. Their relationship progressed slowly, filled with challenges but also with understanding and patience. Although love is not a cure for OCD, sincerity, commitment, and mutual support created a solid foundation. A few months later in Noah's office, Lily was presenting a new plan. Noah listened attentively, his hands tapping lightly on the table in a familiar rhythm, but the intensity and frequency had decreased significantly. When Lily accidentally dropped a pen, Noah simply smiled warmly and said, It's okay, Lily. It's just a pen. They exchanged a look free from tension or fear. Only trust, love, and the acceptance that the road ahead would be long, but they would walk it together. Thank you for taking the time to read this story. If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more meaningful stories.